Good morning, Vice Chair Peterson. I'm going to go ahead and send a prompt over to you. Thank you. And I'm going to get a slide up.
Got a quick question for you before we start, whenever you're ready.
Sure.
Is it typical for me to read all of the findings starting on page 11 of the report?
No, not for this meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never seen that done, but we can ask Susie once she's here because she's really more of the expert than I am.
Okay, works for me.
Good morning, Jesus.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Sounds really good. Thank you.
Excellent. I'll mute.
And it looks like we have Susie joined us now.
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning.
Glad you sent a message. I got up to my eyeballs in something else.
I know Monday morning is an odd time to have a hearing. It caught me by surprise too. Looked on my calendar. I'm like, whoa, there it is.
Kimberly's my brain on Monday mornings. So, was there a question that I can answer here, or?
Yeah, that's fine. Vice Chair Peterson asked me a question, which I think I gave him the right answer, but I wanted to confirm with you.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if we typically read the whole findings of the report before the vote.
We don't we handle it very much like Planning Commission. If people ask, I have been asked how a finding was made. And I think at that point we can read it or explain it, but it's pretty straightforward. And this is I don't know what to expect actually, as far as neighbors. The neighbors on Monteverde have never been too keen on any of those properties being subdivided, although they're fully aware of the situation on the north side of Monteverde. So I don't know if we're going to hear from anybody or not, but if it's the case, I think if we needed to, we could.
Okay.
And then, you're pretty much running the meeting, and I'll do a presentation just like I would at the Planning Commission. Jesus is there to answer any of the questions that come up. Most of the questions usually are engineering, so
Yep.
we need his expertise there.
Works for me.
Okay. And and we're just about ready to go.
Yeah, just a couple more minutes.
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm going to grab some water just so that doesn't happen while I'm doing my presentation.
So it looks like it's 9. Should we give it a go?
I think
Yeah, that would be fine. That would be
All
fine.
right, hearing no objections. I'd like to call to order the March 28th, 2022 meeting of the Subdivision Committee of the City of Santa Rosa. Due to the provisions of the Governor's Executive Orders N-25-20 and N-29-20, which suspends certain requirements of the Brown Act, the Subdivision Committee will be conducting today's meeting in a virtual setting using Zoom webinar. Committee chair and staff are participating from remote locations and/or practicing appropriate social distancing. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting as noted on the city's website and as noted on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to speak during public comment or during our public hearing items will be able to do so by raising their hand in the Zoom meeting and will be given the ability to address the committee. Do we need to take roll?
You can. You can. It's up to you, Julian.
Sure.
Or Vice Chair Peter.
Well, I believe everyone is present. Jesus McKeague, Susie Murray, and myself, Vice Chair of the Planning Commission. With that, I'd like to move to item 2. This is public comment. This is for any member of the public wishing to speak on an item that is not on today's agenda. So if you want to talk about the Whitfield subdivision, this is not the time to do that. This is for anything else. If you wish to make a comment, please choose the raised hand on Zoom. Make sure to unmute yourself when you're invited to do so. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Now, I don't see any raised hands. Is that accurate, Madam Host?
Kimberly. Yes. I don't see any either. And you can feel free to call me Kimberly. That's fine.
All right. With that, seeing no public comments, I'll close this item 2 and move to item 3, the public hearing. This is item 3.1, the Whitfield Minor Subdivision Exempt Project, tentative map minor 5409 Monte Verde Drive, MIN 20-001. And I believe we have a presentation.
I do. Can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So the item before us today is a tentative map, a tentative parcel map, because it involves fewer than 4 parcels. And it's a proposal to subdivide an almost 1.5 acre parcel into 3 10,000 square foot lots, and with 1 remainder parcel. The remainder parcel is currently constructed with a home and other accessory structures. And there is no architecture required, nor is there any architecture proposed at this time for the 3 new lots. The only required entitlement is this tentative parcel map. Here's an aerial view of the site. And as you can see, the north side of the site along Spain is vacant. And that's where the 3 10,000 square foot lots will be facing Spain Street. And then on the southern portion of Spain of the parcel, it fronts Monte Verde Drive. And that area will remain as 1 parcel, and that's where it's developed. So just to give you some perspective of the neighborhood context, the star is the site, the subject site, excuse me. And as you can see around it, there's quite a lot of residential development, with the larger lot development along Monte Verde, and then a school down on Calistoga Road where that field is. So, not a whole lot of project history. The application has been in since January of 2020 with several stops and starts, having to do, it was right around the time we shut down for COVID. There was a lot of delays there, but then as we finally got into conditioning, there were some questions and we had to do some revisions and what have you, but yay, we're finally here. So here are diagrams showing both the general plan and zoning. On the left, that light yellow color that you see is low density residential. And the parcel, as you can see, is kind of split in half. It's shown by the blue box. It's split in half, with the lower half in an area designated as very low density residential on the general plan. So the difference in these 2 land use designations are the one on the north can be developed with 2 to 8 acres or units per acre. And the one on the south of the site, that very low density, is 0.2 to 2 units per acre. So there's a significant difference in how many homes can be developed on both sides of that property. As designed here, both sides will be consistent with their respective general plan land use designation. And then on the right, as you can see again, shown outlined in blue, the area that has the very low density residential land use designation is zoned RR20, which is consistent with that general plan land use designation. What that says is that parcels need to be a minimum of 20,000 square feet. And then the northern area here, which is where the subdivision is really proposed, it's R16, and the minimum parcel size there is 6,000 square feet. So the project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. And for several reasons, I think it's consistent with section 15303, in that it involves the construction, or may involve the construction, of 3 new residential structures. It also qualifies as infill development, and it also qualifies for a streamlining measure because it's consistent with the general plan land use designation and zoning and. So here's an image of the actual map. So again, this is Monteverde down here. This is Spain Street up here. These are the 3 10,000 foot parcels. And then the remainder it's almost 35,000 square foot parcel. And then during staff's review, one of the big circular issues that we got into is, how do we ensure that low impact development measures will be applied when there's no new construction proposed? If there's any question on that, I am absolutely deferring to Jesus McKeag, who was very much involved in resolving that. But it did get resolved, and there are no unresolved issues at this point. So I did receive one phone call last week, and I explained the zoning district issues. It was a neighbor. He didn't give me his name. Is a neighbor on Monteverde, and he wanted to know if there would be any more development along Monteverde. And I told him that there was nothing proposed at this time, and I think the parcel that's there will remain looking like the parcel that's there. So along Spain Street, eventually we expect to see something different. That said, the parcel that fronts Monteverde could, by right, install an accessory dwelling unit. And of course, anybody who talks to me knows I'm always encouraging that. So that concludes my presentation. If there's anybody that has called in and you can't see the screen and you do have questions, my name is Susie Murray, and my telephone number, I'm there on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I do answer my phone and I do return calls. My phone number is 707-543-4348. You can also reach me by email at smurray@srcity.org. That concludes my presentation, and I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you. So I don't have any questions for staff or the applicant. So I would move to the public hearing portion of this. Again, any member of the public wishing to speak on this item, if you wish to make a comment, please choose the raised hand on Zoom. Make sure to unmute yourself when you are invited to do so. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. And I see one raised hand, a Barbara Boyd.
Barbara, I have a screen shared here, and I'm going to go ahead and get the timer going. Let's see. Let's make sure your sound is enabled there.
Are you asking me?
Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you.
I can hear me. I can't see me.
Yeah, we're in the webinar version of Zoom, so we can enable sound, but we don't use cameras for anyone but the staff and the panelists that are participating.
Okay.
So no worries, but we can hear you just fine. Can you see the timer on your screen?
No.
Okay.
But I won't be more than 3 minutes.
Okay. Okay. Let me just go ahead and get that up there. Sorry.
Oh, yes, now I can see it.
Okay.
So I'm just supposed to go on?
Yes,
Yeah,
whenever
go
you're
right
ready.
ahead.
Oh, okay. My only concern is I have a home at 5312 Spain, which is, there's 2 lots between my house and the subdivision. And this is on a hill and there is a lot of water that comes down that hill. And it doesn't really affect my property, but my neighbor, I don't know for what reason that the county or the city allowed him to have the house so far down. It's considerably farther down than my house. So a lot of water runs off and floods his garage. I'm just worried with this new subdivision, if you don't do proper drainage, we could have a problem later on. Because right now, you know, it can soak into the dirt. Once you build houses on it, more water's gonna come running down the hill. I just want to make sure that you guys really get some good drainage when they do build houses. That's all.
Thank you. Now I saw one other hand, which was a Saul Diamond.
So I'm going to get a prompt over to you. And when you answer that prompt, it should enable your sound.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. This is Dr. Diamond. I live at 5339 Spain Avenue. I've lived here for 27 years. One of the reasons I bought a home on Spain Avenue is because it's been such a quiet neighborhood. I think if this construction is done, levels of not just the construction noise for a year and a half, but traffic in and out is going to increase. There's a number of families who've moved in with very young children who like to play outside. It's a bit of a concern. I'd also like to mention, most of the years I've lived here, I've had dogs. And when I walk my dogs, especially in the evening, I commonly see quite a bit of wildlife on Spain Avenue. I've seen raccoons, opossum, herds of deer twice a year. I hear owls at night. There was a family of red fox down where Spain takes a right angle turn, a few houses down from me. So there's quite a bit of wildlife that I think will be impacted by this. And that's basically it. I have concerns that the whole character of the neighborhood is going to be impacted in a decreased quality of life if 3 new houses are put into that parcel. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I don't see any additional hands. So with that, I'd like to close the public hearing and turn to our planners and see, I think, Jesus, the first question from Ms. Boyd is probably for you, related to drainage and flooding in new developments and any sort of standards to deal with that issue. Can you talk about that a bit?
Hi, good morning, Vice Chair Peterson and all those listening. It's my pleasure to help answer that question. Basically, with drainage design, they are the developer must make sure that none of the flows from their site it will impact other lots that are adjacent to them. And additional to that, any lots that do historically drain onto the property must either have that drainage taken into the lot's individual drainage system or have it rerouted as a bypass out to the city system. So in no case would this new development be allowed to have impacts to its neighbors. And that type of a design is going to be worked out since they did not show the design for the houses. The actual drainage can't be shown on the map right now. That's something that'll be worked out with the development of the lots.
But just to be clear, that is a process that the city and the construction portion of it will deal with.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That is correct.
great. And then I don't know, so we've got a couple from Mr. Diamond. I don't know if this is for you again, Jesus, construction standards for sort of noise and traffic, maybe hours of operation, things like that.
I can take that, Jesus.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so we have a noise ordinance, and we understand that during periods of construction that there is increased traffic, there is increased noise. I believe there was a condition of approval added on to this, that construction hours would be limited to, I think, 8 a.m. on Monday through 8 to 6 maybe on Monday through Friday. I can look. I don't have that up on my screen.
I was just going through it. I saw the same thing, and I also can't find it in the moment, but
I'm bringing it up right now, and I know right where to find it on my report, but I typically add that condition when it's in a developed residential. Hours of construction, yes. On Monday through Friday, the construction hours when those homes are built, those 3 homes, will be limited from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 9 to 5 on Saturday, with no construction allowed on Sundays or holidays. Thank you, Kimberly. There I go. She's my brain on Monday morning. And so that kind of addresses the noise after the homes are developed. Adding 3 homes to a neighborhood, I don't imagine that will have too significant an effect, although I will say that it has been intended for this type of development for years. And in fact, it could be a much more intensive development for 30,000 square feet of parcel. They could have, I think they could have gotten 6 homes there. So right now they're proposing 3. With regard to the wildlife, I'm so happy to hear that you're still seeing the wildlife. Again, I don't think the additional traffic and at areas once construction is complete will have an impact on that wildlife. These are still going to have quite a bit of open space on the lots and the lots surrounding them. Yeah, and then and as far as, again, the quality of the neighborhood, or not the quality, but the character of the neighborhood, these are going to be 3 very significantly, they're very nice sized lots for the neighborhood. And adding 3 more homes, it's 3 more opportunities for some really good friends, I think. So it's the land use that's intended for there, and on the very low end of the density spectrum. So I think that addresses the comments.
great. Well, I have no remaining questions for staff or applicant. I think we've answered the public's comments. So at this point, I would turn to the vote on this item 3.1. I guess I can go in order here. Jesus McCaig.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Susie Murray. I think you're on mute.
You're right. My dog was snoring. Aye.
And I will also vote aye, making that 3 ayes in a unanimous vote for item 3.1. There being no additional public items on this meeting, I will adjourn the March 28th, 2022 meeting of the Subdivision Committee, and like to thank everyone for their time and the public for their feedback. So we'll see you the next time.